gentlemen, welcome back to Woodburn's Solving Your China Business Pain Points. My name is Christina Kohler-Colucci, and I'm the Head of Business Advisory at Woodburn Accountants and Advisors. In today's episode, we are going to be looking at choosing the right banking partner in China. If your company finds itself in the pre-investment stage, the first step is to select a banking partner in China. Before any bank commits to working with your entity in China, they will have to go through an extremely thorough KYC due diligence process. KYC stands for Know Your Client, which is basically a due diligence, a background check on you or on you as shareholders, your corporate entity as the shareholder, and then the directors as well. Now, prior to taking you on as a client, the bank will want to know your history. What are you doing in China, and who are the beneficiary owners of your structure, among other details. And this information is mandatory and necessary to move forward in the banking process. When choosing your bank, it is relevant to understand what your China company's needs are going to be in China, such as, do you need credit loans? Do you need trading functions, and ultimately, what is going to be the nature of your business? Another question you should ask yourself is your China business going to be more domestic? Meaning, are you going to have more domestic transactions with other Chinese companies? Or are you going to have more international transactions, which will then be cross-border? So it's asking, what type of monetary transactions are you actually going to be handling? Is it going to be more domestic, or is it going to be more international? Now, these are helpful questions to ask because it's really important to understand how the banks are going to physically operate. And also, it's really important to realize that that the banking system in China is extremely old-fashioned. So whether you are an international bank or a domestic bank, you are governed by the People's Bank of China. And the system in terms of operation is a very old-fashioned, document-heavy system, okay? Our recommendation is, where the bank is going to also choose you, you need to choose the right bank that fits your needs. So it is really important to visit several banks or have Zoom meetings with several bank managers, meet with their representatives, understand the services that they can offer you, and what their limitations might be. We've had the situation where a lot of clients have said, well, we need credit cards to be issued and debit cards to be issued for our employees to pay off business expenses. No bank is going to issue a credit card or a debit card when you have no collateral as a startup, right? This would only happen after a certain number of years of operation and transactions, where the bank will say, okay, you've got a good bank balance, you are pretty stable with your transactions, we'll now issue you or debit or credit cards. This takes at least a minimum of 3 years from the point of starting up your business in China. So it is really, really important to have these conversations, evaluate the needs that you have with your bank, thinking about physical trade transactions, service transactions, overseas transactions, domestic transactions, and then what are your day-to-day needs in terms of online banking, credit cards, debit cards, etc. And having these types of interviews with the banks to see how they can help you accomplish all of that, right? The most important thing I want to say about having these interviews and having these conversations with the banks is ultimately not so much also to understand what functions they can offer you, but do they have a good relationship manager who can communicate with you? If you are sitting in the UK or in the US, do you have the ability to pick up the phone at a moment's notice and call your bank in China to get information? A lot of people rely on their outsourced accounting providers or advisors or lawyers to be that contact on the ground with the bank. That's not a long-term solution. That maybe is a temporary solution. It's not a long-term solution. So we do highly, highly recommend that you develop this relationship from abroad and understand what are the cultural language barriers that might be there that could prevent you from getting answers if any situation were to arise with your bank. So choosing your banking partner is extremely important we do recommend that you start this homework piece in the pre-investment stage, where you start interviewing people, interviewing banks, and understanding, what are your experiences. I am biased. I have my own personal experiences with international banks as well as with domestic banks, not only from a Woodburn perspective, but also looking at our clients' experiences. And if you do have any questions at all about our experiences and you want to have an opinion on who to bank with, don't hesitate to reach out to us. I mean, we're more than happy to assist you in this, and give you our perspective. We're going to provide you a link to our diary. We're happy to have a free 15-minute introductory call to guide you in one of these pain points that might be existing. And for those of you that are currently struggling with your banks, there are a lot of companies that are struggling with their banks right now. Since January 2023, things have become more rigid, more strict, especially for overseas transfers coming into China and going out of China, that yeah, it's not been easy. So if you want to have a conversation on this, there's a link. You can put a date and time in our diary, and we'd be happy to speak with you. Now, if you enjoyed today's video, please do press the like button. That helps us to spread the word and to aid more individuals that might be having certain China business pain points. So feel free to like it, share it. And obviously, if you want to learn more about what we do at Woodburn Accountants and Advisors, head on over to our website, woodburnglobal.com. And I look forward to seeing you at our next episode. Have a great afternoon. Take care and goodbye.